Introduction. Have you ever wondered about the life and story of Prophet Sulaymān, known as Solomon in the Bible, as narrated in the Quran? In this video, we will take an in-depth look into the story of Prophet Sulaymān, exploring every verse in the Quran that mentions him. Prophet Sulaymān is a significant figure in Islamic tradition. He was not only a prophet but also a king, renowned for his unparalleled wisdom, justice, and the extraordinary powers granted to him by Allah. His story is filled with fascinating events and timeless lessons that are relevant even today. In this video, we will break down Sulaymān's story into several parts. We will start with his early life and lineage, then delve into his wisdom and judgments. We will explore the establishment and expansion of his kingdom, focusing on the miracles he was granted, including control over jinn, animals, and the wind. Additionally, we will discuss his famous encounter with the Queen of Sheba, Bilqis, and the profound lessons from their interaction. Finally, we will conclude with the impact of his legacy on Islamic teachings. By examining each verse that mentions Prophet Sulaymān, we aim to provide a comprehensive understanding of his story and the lessons we can learn from it. For instance, how did Sulaymān demonstrate his wisdom in his judgments? What were the miracles he performed, and what significance did they hold? How did his interaction with the Queen of Sheba unfold, and what can we learn from it? Let's begin this exploration into the life of Prophet Sulaymān, diving into the rich and enlightening verses of the Quran that bring his story to life. Section 2, Early Life of Prophet Sulaymān. Prophet Sulaymān, known as Solomon in the Bible, was born into a noble family of prophets. He was the son of Prophet David, and his early life was marked by the teachings and wisdom imparted by his father. From a young age, Sulaymān displayed remarkable intelligence, insight, and a strong sense of justice, qualities that would later define his reign as a king and prophet. Background and lineage. Sulaymān belonged to the tribe of Judah, one of the 12 tribes of Israel. His father, Dawood, was a renowned prophet and king who established a just and prosperous kingdom. Sulaymān inherited not only his father's throne but also his wisdom and commitment to justice. His lineage placed him among a long line of prophets, and his upbringing in such an environment profoundly shaped his character and future. Early mentions in the Quran. The Quran mentions Sulaymān in several contexts, highlighting his wisdom even from a young age. In Surah An-Naml 27:15-16, Allah says, "And we had certainly given to David and Solomon knowledge, and they said, Praise is due to Allah, who has favored us over many of his believing servants. And Solomon inherited David. He said, O people, we have been taught the language of birds, and we have been given from all things. Indeed, this is evident bounty." This verse underscores the knowledge and abilities granted to Sulaymān, including the understanding of the language of birds and a comprehensive wisdom that encompassed many aspects of life. It also highlights his gratitude towards Allah for these blessings. Relationship with his father, Prophet Dawood. Sulaymān's relationship with his father, Prophet Dawood, was integral to his development as a leader and prophet. Dawood was known for his fair judgments and devotion to Allah, qualities that he passed on to Sulaymān. The Quran provides an account of a situation where Sulaymān's wisdom was tested alongside his father's judgment. In Surah Al-Anbiya 21:78-79, it is narrated, "And, mention, David and Solomon, when they judged concerning the field, when the sheep of a people overran it, at night, and we were witness to their judgment. And we gave understanding of it to Solomon, and to each of them we gave judgment and knowledge. And we subjected the mountains to exalt us, along with David and the birds. And we were doing that." In this incident, both Dawood and Sulaymān were presented with a dispute regarding a field that was overrun by sheep. While Dawood made an initial judgment, Sulaymān offered a different solution that demonstrated his unique wisdom and understanding. Allah commended both prophets for their judgments but highlighted Sulaymān's insight as particularly noteworthy. Characteristics of young Sulaymān. From these early accounts, several key characteristics of young Sulaymān stand out. Wisdom and understanding. Sulaymān's ability to provide insightful judgments from a young age illustrates his profound wisdom and understanding, gifts bestowed upon him by Allah. Gratitude and devotion. Sulaymān's recognition of Allah's favors and his expressions of gratitude reflect his deep devotion and humility. Leadership and justice. Even in his youth, Sulaymān showed a strong sense of justice and the qualities of a capable leader, traits that would define his future reign. Significance of his early life. Sulaymān's early life sets the stage for his later achievements and contributions. His upbringing in a prophetic household, combined with the divine wisdom and knowledge granted to him, prepared him for the responsibilities of leadership and prophethood. The early indications of his abilities foreshadow the remarkable reign he would have as a king who balanced power with justice and wisdom. Lessons from Sulaymān's early life. There are several valuable lessons we can learn from Sulaymān's early life. Value of wisdom. Sulaymān's judgments highlight the importance of wisdom and understanding in making fair and just decisions. Gratitude to Allah. Sulaymān's constant praise and gratitude towards Allah for his blessings serve as a reminder of the importance of being thankful for the gifts we receive. Learning from elders. Sulaymān's relationship with his father, Prophet Dawood, underscores the importance of learning from the wisdom and experience of elders. Section 3. Sulaymān's wisdom and judgments. Prophet Sulaymān's wisdom and judgments are among the most remarkable aspects of his life. His ability to make fair and insightful decisions, coupled with his profound understanding of both human and natural affairs, distinguished him as a unique leader and prophet. The Quran provides several accounts of Sulaymān's judgments, each illustrating his exceptional wisdom and the lessons we can learn from his decisions. Verses explaining his wisdom and judgments. One of the most well-known examples of Sulaymān's wisdom is his judgment in the case of two women who came to him with a dispute over a child. In Surah Al-Anbiya 21:78-79, the Quran briefly mentions Sulaymān's wisdom and mention David and Solomon when they judged concerning the field, when the sheep of a people overran it at night, and we were witness to their judgment. And we gave understanding of it to Solomon, and to each of them we gave judgment and knowledge. This verse highlights that Sulaymān was granted unique understanding and judgment by Allah. Though this specific story isn't detailed in the Quran, it is elaborated in Hadith literature where two women claim to be the mother of the same child. Sulaymān suggested dividing the child in two, and the true mother immediately offered to give up her claim to save the child's life. This revealed her true maternal compassion, and Sulaymān awarded her custody of the child. Notable judgments and decisions. Another significant judgment of Sulaymān is mentioned in Surah An-Naml 27:15-19, where his ability to understand the language of animals plays a crucial role. And we had certainly given to David and Solomon knowledge, and they said, Praise is due to Allah, who has favored us over many of his believing servants. And Solomon inherited David. He said, O people, we have been taught the language of birds, and we have been given from all things. Indeed, this is evident bounty. And gathered for Solomon were his soldiers of the jinn and men and birds, and they were marching in rows. Until, when they came upon the valley of the ants, and ants said, O ants, enter your dwellings that you not be crushed by Solomon and his soldiers while they perceived not. So Solomon smiled, amused at her speech, and said, My Lord, enable me to be grateful for your favor which you have bestowed upon me and upon my parents, and to do righteousness of which you approve. And admit me by your mercy into the ranks of your righteous servants. This passage highlights several important aspects of Sulaymān's wisdom and his relationship with his subjects, both human and animal. Understanding and compassion. Sulaymān's ability to understand the language of the ants and his compassionate response demonstrate his empathy and awareness of the natural world. Gratitude and humility. Sulaymān's prayer for gratitude and righteousness reflects his humble recognition of Allah's favors and his desire to lead justly. Leadership and responsibility. The gathering of Sulaymān's diverse army underscores his effective leadership and the responsibility he bore for all his subjects. Lessons from his wisdom. Sulaymān's judgments provide timeless lessons in leadership, justice, and compassion. Here are some key takeaways from his decisions. Empathy in leadership. Sulaymān's ability to understand and respond to the needs of all his subjects, including animals, highlights the importance of empathy and compassion in leadership. Wisdom in judgment. His insightful decisions, such as identifying the true mother through an unconventional approach, demonstrate the value of wisdom and creativity in resolving conflicts. Gratitude and humility. Sulaymān's constant expressions of gratitude to Allah and his humble prayers for righteousness remind us of the importance of humility and thankfulness in all our endeavors. Additional accounts of Sulaymān's wisdom. The Quran also recounts other instances of Sulaymān's wisdom and the extraordinary abilities granted to him by Allah. In Surah Saba 34:12-14, his control over the wind and the jinn is described. And to Solomon we subjected the wind, its morning journey was that of a month, and its afternoon journey was that of a month, and we made flow for him a spring of liquid copper. And among the jinn were those who worked for him by the permission of his Lord. And whoever deviated among them from our command, we will make him taste of the punishment of the blaze. They made for him what he willed of elevated chambers, statues, bowls like reservoirs, and stationary kettles. We said, "Work, O family of David, in gratitude. And few of my servants are grateful." And when we decreed for Solomon death, nothing indicated to them his death except a creature of the earth eating his staff. But when he fell, it became clear to the jinn that if they had known the unseen, they would not have remained in humiliating punishment. This passage illustrates Solomon's unique abilities and the vast resources at his command, further underscoring his exceptional wisdom and the divine support he received. Significance of Solomon's judgments. Solomon's judgments were not only fair and insightful but also deeply informed by his unique abilities and the divine wisdom granted to him. His decisions reflect a profound understanding of justice and compassion, serving as exemplary models for leaders and judges. Impact on Islamic teachings. The stories of Solomon's judgments and wisdom have a significant impact on Islamic teachings, offering valuable lessons in leadership, justice, and the proper use of power. They emphasize the importance of ruling with fairness, understanding, and a deep sense of responsibility toward all creatures. Section 4, Solomon's Kingdom and Miracles. Prophet Sulaymān's kingdom was unparalleled in its grandeur and the unique powers granted to him by Allah. His reign was marked by extraordinary miracles, including control over the jinn, animals, and the wind. These miracles not only demonstrated Allah's favor upon Sulaymān but also served as a testament to his wisdom and ability to govern justly. Establishment and expansion of his kingdom. Sulaymān inherited a prosperous and just kingdom from his father, Prophet Dawud. Under his rule, the kingdom expanded and flourished. Sulaymān's leadership brought unprecedented prosperity, stability, and peace. The Quran describes his kingdom in several verses, highlighting the divine support he received. In Surah An-Naml, 27:15-16, it is stated, "And we had certainly given to David and Solomon knowledge, and they said, Praise is due to Allah, who has favored us over many of his believing servants. And Solomon inherited David. He said, O people, we have been taught the language of birds, and we have been given from all things. Indeed, this is evident bounty." This passage emphasizes the divine knowledge and abilities bestowed upon Sulaymān, which played a crucial role in the establishment and expansion of his kingdom. His understanding of the language of birds and other creatures reflected his comprehensive wisdom and the unique nature of his reign. Miracles granted to Sulaymān. Among the most notable aspects of Sulaymān's kingdom were the miracles granted to him by Allah. These miracles included control over the jinn, animals, and the wind, each serving a specific purpose in his governance and the execution of his duties as a prophet. Control over jinn. One of the extraordinary abilities granted to Sulaymān was control over the jinn. The jinn are supernatural beings created from smokeless fire, and they possessed unique abilities that Sulaymān harnessed for the benefit of his kingdom. In Surah Al-Anbiya, 21:82, it is mentioned, "And of the devils, jinn, were those who dived for him and did work other than that, and we were of them a guardian." This verse highlights how the jinn served Sulaymān by performing various tasks, including diving into the depths of the sea to retrieve treasures and constructing magnificent structures. The Quran further elaborates on this in Surah Saba, 34:12-13. And to Solomon we subjected the wind, its morning journey was that of a month, and its afternoon journey was that of a month, and we made flow for him a spring of liquid copper. And among the jinn were those who worked for him by the permission of his Lord. And whoever deviated among them from our command, we will make him taste of the punishment of the blaze. They made for him what he willed of elevated chambers, statues, bowls like reservoirs, and stationary kettles. We said, Work, O family of David, in gratitude. And few of my servants are grateful. This passage illustrates the scope of the jinn's contributions to Sulaymān's kingdom, creating grand structures and performing tasks that required immense strength and skill. Control over animals. Sulaymān's ability to communicate with and control animals was another remarkable aspect of his miracles. His understanding of the language of birds and other creatures allowed him to maintain harmony and order in his kingdom. In Surah An-Naml 27:17-19, the Quran describes an incident involving ants. And gathered for Solomon were his soldiers of the jinn and men and birds, and they were marching in rows. Until, when they came upon the valley of the ants, an ant said, O ants, enter your dwellings that ye not be crushed by Solomon and his soldiers while they perceived not. So Solomon smiled, amused at her speech, and said, My Lord, enable me to be grateful for your favor which you have bestowed upon me and upon my parents, and to do righteousness of which you approve. And admit me by your mercy into the ranks of your righteous servants. This story showcases Sulayman's unique ability to understand the language of animals and his compassionate response to the ant's warning. It reflects his empathy and the harmonious relationship he maintained with all creatures. Control over the wind. Sulayman was also granted control over the wind, which he used to travel swiftly and efficiently across his kingdom. This miracle is mentioned in Surah Saba 34:12. And to Solomon we subjected the wind, its morning journey was that of a month, and its afternoon journey was that of a month. This verse highlights the extraordinary nature of Sulayman's control over the wind, enabling him to traverse great distances in a short amount of time. This ability facilitated the efficient administration of his vast kingdom and the swift execution of his duties. Significance of these miracles. The miracles granted to Sulayman served multiple purposes, including demonstrating Allah's power and favor, facilitating the administration of his kingdom, and ensuring justice and order. These miracles underscored Sulayman's unique role as a prophet and king, endowed with abilities that set him apart from other leaders. Impact on his kingdom. Sulayman's control over the jinn, animals, and wind significantly impacted his kingdom's prosperity and stability. The jinn's labor resulted in the construction of magnificent buildings and infrastructure. His communication with animals ensured harmony between humans and the natural world. His control over the wind enabled efficient governance and military mobility. Lessons from Sulayman's miracles. Sulayman's miracles offer several valuable lessons for believers. Divine favor and responsibility. The miracles highlight the immense responsibility that comes with divine favor. Sulayman's use of these abilities for the benefit of his kingdom and the service of Allah exemplifies the proper use of power. Gratitude and humility. Sulayman's constant expressions of gratitude and humility, despite his extraordinary powers, remind us of the importance of recognizing and appreciating Allah's blessings. Compassion and justice. Sulayman's interactions with animals and the natural world reflect his compassion and commitment to justice, demonstrating the importance of fair and empathetic leadership. Section 6, End of Prophet Sulayman's story in the Quran. Sulayman's death. Prophet Sulayman's death is mentioned in Surah Saba 34:14, highlighting the mysterious and almost unnoticed nature of his passing. And when we decreed for Solomon death, nothing indicated to them his death except a creature of the earth eating his staff. But when he fell, it became clear to the jinn that if they had known the unseen, they would not have remained in humiliating punishment. This verse reveals that Sulayman's death was hidden from the jinn who served him, as they continued to work diligently until his body, leaning on a staff, finally fell. The lesson here is profound. Despite their supernatural abilities, the jinn were unaware of the unseen, reinforcing the omnipotence of Allah and the limitations of created beings. Final verses related to Sulayman. The Quran reflects on Sulayman's virtues and the lessons his life offers. In Surah Sad 38:30-40, Allah praises Sulayman's strength, devotion, and exemplary qualities. And to David we gave Solomon an excellent servant, indeed he was one repeatedly turning back to Allah. Mention, when there were exhibited before him in the afternoon the poised, standing, race horses. And he said, Indeed, I gave preference to the love of good things over the remembrance of my Lord until the time disappeared behind the veil of night. He said, Return them to me, and set about striking their legs and necks. And we certainly tried Solomon and placed on his throne a body. Then he returned. He said, My Lord, forgive me and grant me a kingdom such as will not belong to anyone after me. Indeed, you are the bestower. So we subjected to him the wind blowing by his command, gently wherever he directed, and, also, the devils, of jinn, every builder and diver and others bound together in shackles. We said, This is our gift, so grant or withhold without account. And indeed, for him is nearness to us and a good place of return. These verses highlight Sulaymān's devotion, his trials, and the divine gifts bestowed upon him, underscoring his exemplary service and dedication to Allah.